This is the South African Immunization Project. And it's Julie, Tanya, Laurie, Emily, and Miranda.
Okay, our plan is to understand what the South African Immunization Project is all about, which is basically we want to get immunizations to different people who are in need of it. Right now we're focusing on South Africa. We want to find a willing group who's going to purchase the vaccinations and be able to send it to us for no charge. We also want to find a group that's willing to finance sending all these things out to our group members so that we can go work on the project. And then we want to have somebody be able to renew this, pick it up annually, so it can be something we do on a regular basis.
Our mission statement is getting regular vaccinations to ensure that families stay alive and healthy. That's our primary goal of our project. And the South African Immunization Project is a humanitarian foundation that helps deliver free vaccinations to the families in South Africa. Our primary goal is to help eradicate and or decrease the spread of different diseases in South Africa by the year of 2030. And the foundation is implemented primarily from donations from UNICEF, LDS charities, and it is also in association with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Okay, our challenge is to immunize the children who need it the most. The immunization alone, it saves 2 to 3 million lives every year. So when we protect our kids from these serious diseases, then the kids can help end these preventable deaths. Our South African Immunization Project, we want to bring it to different places in South Africa. I can't pronounce those countries, but they're very important. Right now, nearly 1 in 5 infants misses out in those basic vaccinations. They need to stay alive and stay healthy. So low immunization levels among poor and other marginalized children compromise gains made all over the world for maternal and child health. We just want to make sure that those 1.5 million children who could die annually from the diseases can be prevented. We can save them.
Now, there are actually a couple of different vaccines that we're focusing on. The first one is the MMR. Now, this is actually a combined vaccine for the measles, mumps, and rubella viruses. This vaccine was actually, combination was actually first introduced in 1971. And since it's been introduced, over 500 million doses have been administered. So the MMR vaccine is usually administered when a child is around 1 year old, and a second dose is given to them when they're about 4 to 5 years. Now, this vaccine is actually very effective whenever it goes, the 2-dose administration is complete. It's 97% effective for measles, 88% effective for mumps, and 97% effective for rubella. Now, all of these are actually viral diseases with different symptoms such as rashes, fevers, headaches, muscle aches, and swollen glands. The rubella is actually most commonly referred to as a German measles. And this can actually be very, very dangerous whenever a pregnant woman contracts it while she's pregnant. It can actually cause miscarriages, birth defects, and developing baby if she develops it while she's pregnant.
So some of the disease symptoms on the left is measles, and is a picture of the measles, and it usually presents itself as like a cold or a flu, and then you'll get a cough, runny nose, sore throat, and then it develops a rash. The second picture is a picture of rubella. It also develops with a rash, and about 25 to 50% of people infected will not actually experience any symptoms. So I thought that was kind of neat. The last picture is mumps. It's known for the puffy cheeks and the swollen jaw, and typically has similar similar symptoms as the measles, such as a fever, headache, muscle aches, tiredness. Next slide.
The second vaccine that we are wanting to administer is the Tdap, which is a combination of the tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis bacterias. Now, tetanus is usually called locking jar, and this is actually a unique bacteria because it's not transmitted from person to person. It is actually contracted whenever the spores enter your body through an open wound. And it's actually found everywhere in the environment, the soil, dust, manure, and whenever you step on, such as a rusty nail, that's when the bacteria enters your blood. Now, diphtheria will actually cause a thick gray mucus membrane on your nose and the throat. And this is actually transmitted through droplets, such as when the infected person sneezes or coughs. If you touch an item that's been previously handled by an infected person that may have spit on it. And it is occasionally transmitted through household items such as towels and toys. Pertussis is most commonly referred to as the whooping cough. Now, this bacteria can actually affect people of all ages, but it's especially serious and deadly for babies that contract it when they're less than a year old.
So we just wanted to go ahead and add some pictures of what these diseases are. So the first picture is a child that had contracted tetanus. The second one is a picture of diphtheria. And the third is a photo of pertussis, which is also a whooping cough.
Now, the last vaccine that we are interested in administering is the polio. Now, this is actually a crippling disease, and it will often be deadly. It's caused by the polio virus, and it spreads from person to person, and it infects the person's brain and spinal cord and will eventually cause paralysis. Now, the first vaccine was introduced in the United States in 1955, and the United States has actually been polio-free since 1979. So this vaccine is administered in 4 different doses, the first one being at 2 months, then 4 months, the third one being at 6 to 8 months, and the final dose will be at 4 to 6 years.
So as Emily said, polio can cause paralysis. However, the majority of the people that are actually infected with the virus don't even show any symptoms. And they don't know that they're typically infected until it's too late. So the first, so I wanted to go ahead and include some photos of polio. So the first one is obviously a little girl with polio, and then when it is a little bit more severe is the second one. And then they have to, for treatment, they have to be put into an iron lung. And so I included a photo of that. But polio was eliminated in the United States by 1979. And the only known disease to have been eradicated to date is smallpox. So we're hoping that with these vaccinations that we can help fully eradicate polio.
Okay, so with our vaccines, we have a price data. UNICEF has a significant role with the vaccine procurement for the children. In recognition of this and to provide greater transparency, UNICEF is now publishing this historic and current future award prizes for vaccines. Basically, they're trying to make sure that they consult the people who are making the vaccines and they get it to them and they get a really good profit margin, be able to get it to our locations without any problem. There are different price terms posted on UNICEF that will be from periods 2001 to 2003. And they have forecast other ones from 2004 up to currently 2014.
Funding from the LDS Church Humanitarian Aid. The LDS Church has spent $1.2 billion on welfare and humanitarian efforts. We'll provide volunteers for our South African immunization project to help eradicate infectious diseases. The LDS Church will supply the needs towards our project and provide educated volunteers. Educators will teach the people of Africa to help establish a culture of self-reliance and accountability when it comes to vaccinating their youth. And the South American Immunization Project will provide awareness about vaccine campaigns, monitor what diseases are causing the most problems, and educate the people about immunizations. Humanitarian aid from UNICEF and LDS philanthropies. These are just an example of some nonprofits that are doing what we'd like to do in our project. UNICEF and LDS Humanitarian Aid are doing right now. Immunizations can save 2 to 3 million lives per year. Vaccines now protect more children than ever before. Over 1.5 million children die annually from diseases that can be prevented by vaccine. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation will help with supplies. They can give vaccines and immunizations to countries that can't get the help that they need. And they are contributing their support to even more countries.
Since we decided to focus on the population of the Southern African region, this is a map of the Southern Africa area, and the under 5 mortality rate is 43.3 per 1,000 live births, and the population in South Africa is 54 million people that are there. And the immunization gaps for the greatest in the Mpumalanga and Gauteng were 10.4% and 6.6 in this age group had fallen through the net. With the South African Immunization Program, we would gather resources from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, LDS Charities, and UNICEF, and have them donate money towards vaccinations. Bill and Melinda Gates would donate money towards our project. LDS Charities would help with transporting and immunizations and helping educating and teaching self-reliance with the immunizations. UNICEF would help distribute the vaccinations because they would get it at a much discounted rate. We would then work with these nonprofits and help them and have them help the less fortunate in Southern Africa. We would raise enough money for vaccinations for over 1,000 kids, and we would come out to them 3 times a year. And this would be a tax write-off for the companies, and we would have the experience of helping kids get the help that they needed.